Hello guys, welcome to our webinar today. And today we're going to introduce our latest model, cMTX today. Okay. So today we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about the new hardware spec, right? What cMTX hardware is about. And we're going to introduce some software features that support on the cMTX series. And the last part, because the cMTX has 3 different models, which are advanced, standard, and basic, I'm going to introduce about the differences between them. Okay, so let's talk about hardware first. The first one is that the cMTX has a more powerful processor, right? The cMTX series CPU now have a quad core, which is 4 cores. I mean, compare with our last generation CMT series, which is only using dual core, which means that it only used 2 cores. Now the cMTX has 4 cores. And each core of cMTX is faster than the old CMT core, which is faster about 60%. Right, so on the new cMTX series, everything will be smoother and faster. And you can use more complex project on cMTX, and you will have a way better performance than before. Right, and let's talk about there are more spaces here. And in cMTX series, the memory space there are also a large memory space here. There are 4 gigabytes of flash memory and 1 gigabyte of RAM. For some users who used to have a lot of history files, who like to save their history files in the HMI, or some certain applications that they cannot insert a USB disk into the HMI, now you can save more files in cMTX, right? And for the users who wants to put many pictures in their HMI project, there are more spaces for these pictures now in cMTX series. All right, so there are just more bigger memory space here. All right, so let's talk about the graphic performance here. So not only you can put more big size or higher resolution pictures in cMTX, the cMTX can display this picture with better performance, right? Because that cMTX is using a better GPU here, and which has a better rendering algorithm, right? And so the screen basically will look more colorful if you use the same picture on cMTX and other HMIs on cMTX, it will be looked more colorful now, right? And you can compare with our other older HMI models or other HMI here, and you can see that the cMTX has better graphic performance on the pictures and the buttons, right? And in general, is that the projects are just more beautiful than the others, right? So this is the graphic performance on cMTX here. All right. So some of our cMTX models, like CMT3152X or like CMT3162X, are using capacitive screen. Right, on these capacitive HMIs, and we support touch gestures. You can use like maybe use 5 fingers to grab the screen, or use 3 fingers to swipe the screen, just like when you're using your own smartphone. And these gestures are not just for changing windows. I mean, you can do some complex actions here. Like, for example, I can define that when I use 3 fingers to swipe the screen from the left side to the right side, okay, then the HMI can change PLC's register's value and also change the window at the same time. So you can use touch gesture to do many different actions, many complex action, right? Just like you're using the buttons on the HMI. All right, so this is about our capacitive screen and the touch gesture. Right, and this one is our premium model, which is cMT 3162X here, and it is using capacitive screen. The screen is using a higher transmittance, so the touch response will be faster than the resistive screen, right? And it has higher resolution, goes to 1920 times 1080. Okay, a higher resolution here. And when you touch the screen, it will be smoother and with better accuracy. Okay, so that is the capacitive touch panel that on cMT 3162X use. All right, and also that it is lighter and slimmer. Right, you can see the picture here, and you can see that this cMT 3162X is really slim and really light. The thickness is only around 27.6 millimeters, and the weight is only 1.6 kilograms. So it is very slim and very light. And the viewing angle, because that on cMT 3162X, that it is using like a IPS-like screen, right? So you can see that the viewing angle, no matter from vertical or from horizontal here, that it is almost 180 degrees, right? So it is, if you have LCD computer screen, it's IPS, basically that our this premium model is almost like an IPS screen. Okay, so this is a short introduction about our new cMTX hardware part. Basically, that it is just using a faster CPU, a more powerful CPU, and has more memory space. And some of the HMI are capacitive screens, so it looks much better. The appearance looks better, and the touch has better effect, and you can have touch gesture features. Okay, so here's the second part, and we're going to introduce our software features here, right? And the first part is that we're going to talk about project design, because there are some features that is helpful when you design the HMI project. Okay. The first we're going to talk about is our picture library here. In the hardware part, in the last part, we talked about that you can use your own pictures in HMI to make your project looks better. But in EasyBuilder Pro, we also have a lot of built-in features for users to choose, right? And these pictures can also help you to build a better looking project. All right, so I'm going to show you here. And this is the picture library of our EasyBuilder Pro here. I'm sorry, let me change the screen here. One moment, sorry, I need to change the setting here. Okay, so here I just changed the screen to EasyBuilder Pro here. All right, so this is our picture library here. So you can see that there are many categories, and it contains a lot of different pictures, right? So if you cannot find the proper pictures online, then you can check that our EasyBuilder Pro's picture library here. And you can see that there are many different pictures that you can use, right? So you can see that there are pipe, right, in different machines here and different charts, right? There are different symbols here. And these are just help you make your project looks better. Right? And we will continue to expand our picture library. So in the future, we will put more and more pictures here. So for you to in our Easy Builder Pro here. All right. Okay, so this is about picture library here. All right. And the next part is going to, there are three features here. They are action trigger, condition object, and combo button here. All right. So these three objects here, these three objects here is to help the users who are not familiar with programming, all right? Because there are maybe some of the people, they are not very familiar about writing a code, a programming code. But these three features is here to help these users that they can also design a series of complex actions here. All right. The common button, if you already used our Easy Builder Pro before, you know that we already have the combo button. Right, but now we have changed the user interface to a graphical based user interface, so it will be easier for you to arrange the actions. All right, and okay, so I'm going to make two examples here to make you understand that these three features here can do the things that before you may have to write the program to do it. Now you can just use these three objects to do it. Okay, so the first example is that, for example, when the alarm is on or the temperature is over 50 degrees, right? And the HMI will give a command to close the valve immediately. Okay, so let's take a look at the Builder Pro here. All right, so here I'm going to run the simulation here. Sorry, just give it a moment. Right. Sorry, my PC is acting a little bit slow here. All right, so let's look at the left side, right? Like before, I said that the condition is that when the alarm is on or the temperature is over 50 degrees, right, and you will close the valve immediately. All right, now the valve is open. So when I turn off the alarm, you can see that the valve is closed immediately, right? Or when the temperature is over 50, I give you like 51 degrees, right? 51 degrees, and you can see that the valve is also closed. All right, in this, basically we use two different features here. One is called condition, and you can see that, okay, the condition is like if you, the condition, this both condition, you can choose the or, okay, use the or operator here. Each one, any one of the condition meets, and it will execute the next action. And another feature I use here is called the action trigger, and it just a link with the condition I just said here. Okay, when this condition is met here, and it will just close the valve. All right, so this is how I do them. Before you may have to. I mean, this is a very simple example here. So let's take a look at another example here. Another example here is that when the power is lower than 80% and the machine is on, okay, these both conditions must meet at the same time, and wait for 5 seconds and turn the emergency switch on, and then switch on the cooling system. All right, so let's take a look here. Right, so you can see that, okay, now the machine is off here and the power is go about 100%, right? So I turn the machine on here and I lower the power to under 80. Okay, I give it a 69. All right, and let's wait for 5 seconds. Okay, so now you can see that emergency and cooling system are all on now. All right. So and these two and this behavior, I also use the same object to do it. All right, same features to do it. Right. So I just set the condition that both condition must meet user and operator, and then execute this action here. All right. And these actions you can just set in here, and you can track them using a very simple graphic interface here, user interface here. All right, so you can see that, and this example I just show you, and before on EasyBuilder Pro you may need to write a program to do it, but now you can just use these features to do it. Okay, so these are basically these three features I can do here. Right. So next one is our JavaScript object here. All right. The JavaScript object, if you have used our HMI before, you know that we support macro for programming and do some complex actions, right? On cMTX, we start to support JavaScript. The JavaScript is a very popular language, all right? If you know about something about the programming language here, and the JavaScript is very powerful. Basically, that you can use JavaScript to do a lot of things, like you can design your own object, all right? You can design your own object for your own application, or you can use it to draw some 2D graphics with interaction, or you can use it to connect to the web API to grab some data and show it on your HMI. Okay, so I'm going to here I use this demo project to quickly show you that what JS object can do. All right, so first you can see that when I click on the screen, or I can draw any circles I can. Okay, basically I can just draw pictures on the JavaScript object here. All right, and I can also make this kind of graphic here, right? Or you can show some dynamic graphic, the plotting here. All right, and you can also make use some 2D effect here, or you can make some drawing like this. All right, and you can also make some interaction with the HMI. You can design it on your own, right? Just like unlock your phone, right? So you can use JavaScript object to do it. All right, and another one is that this is that we use now we are connecting to a website, and we are using a JavaScript object to connect to the web API, so we can download this weather data and show it on our HMI. Okay, so this one is also as well. It will connect to a web server here and grab and download the data to HMI. Okay. So these two things are this couple this demo is basically show you that what a JavaScript object can do. All right, and we had a webinar before that introduced this feature with more details. If you missed that, if you want to take a look at that webinar, you can go to YouTube and search Weintek Labs. Okay, search Weintek Labs, and then you can find the webinar we had before. Okay, then you can find this webinar which introduced about JavaScript object. All right. So next part is that we're going to talk about how to monitor HMI in different ways. In cMTX, there are several ways to monitor and operate the HMI here, which are VNC and cMT viewer and web view. I think that everyone here should know VNC. You should probably know it very well. So I'm only going to introduce about cMT viewer and our new feature web view here. All right. So here, cMT viewer is a monitor tool that already supported on our previous model, cMT series here. And now our cMTX series is still supported. basically that you can use smartphone, tablet, or PC to install cMT Viewer's app to monitor HMI. And it also has a monitor mode, so you can monitor multiple HMIs on the same screen, right? If you have a lot of cMTX HMI in your application field here, you can use one screen of cMT Viewer to view this HMI at the same time. Okay. And so the cMT Viewer now only supported on our standard and advanced cMTX models. For basic cMTX models, you may need to use the cMT Viewer we are going to the cMT Viewer here, the VNC Viewer here, right? And the differences between cMT Viewer with VNC and the web view we're going to introduce later is that you can allow multiple users using cMT Viewer to monitor one HMI with different screens and do different operations at the same time. Okay, this is what you can do with cMT Viewer. But if you're using a VNC or web view to monitor a cMTX HMI, you can still have multiple users to monitor this HMI, but all the users, they can only see the same screen at the same time, right? So the difference basically is that cMT Viewer, many people can monitor one HMI and do different things, and the VNC and the web view, they can only do one thing at one time. All right, so that is basically the difference. All right, so the next part is about the web view. The web view is a new feature on cMTX series here. You don't need to download a VNC viewer to your PC or on your phone, and you don't need the cMT Viewers app. Right? You only need to open the browser on your PC or on your tablet and enter the IP address of your HMI on this browser. Okay, then you can monitor the HMI screen on your browser. Okay, so this is easy to do, but it is very convenient because you only need a browser, so you can monitor the HMI. So this is our new cMTX feature called Web View here. Right. So the next feature is our cMT diagnoser here. It is not exactly a viewer that allows you to see HMI's screen or do some operation like trigger a button or something like that. But this cMT diagnoser tool allows you to monitor the register's value and status. Okay, so you can basically monitor HMI and PLC's register's value and change the value directly on this diagnoser tool here. All right, so when there's a communication error with the PLC, I mean, you can use this diagnoser tool to check that what is the error code and to find out what caused the communication error here. All right, so it is very useful when you are testing the PLC connection. You can use the diagnoser to check the connection status. Right. Besides that, you can also use cMT diagnoser to examine your macro and your JS object here. For example, if you are writing a macro and the macro doesn't run as what you expected here, you can use this cMT diagnoser to run your macro line by line and check every result in different lines and make sure and check which line of code is incorrect, which line of code is running different as what you expected. Or you can use cMT diagnoser to check it. Okay. Another part is that the cMT diagnoser can also use to check the connection or the status of a standard MQTT and OPC UA. You can also use cMT diagnoser to check it. All right. So this is about our tool diagnose tool called cMT diagnoser here. Right. And about the software features, so the next part is talking about the data and IoT. Like cMTX is more powerful and useful to connect to a PLC or sharing the data through IoT or SQL database here. Right. So first part, we're going to talk about on tech PLC, right? Here we talk about that our cMTX exclusively support tag protocol like Siemens here, Schneider, or Omron here. And you may probably think about, wait, other third-party HMI, they can also support tag POC, right? But I'm going to explain that why we call it exclusively. All right. So like this POC, Siemens 1200 and 1500, and Schneider's new POC and Omron's NJ or an X series. They basically support two kind of ways to communicate, which are using the symbolic way and absolute way here, right? When you use other third parties HMIs, although you can still, all right, you can still set POC, you can choose POC's registers by tag name, all right? But actually, the communication under those HMIs, they are using the absolute way. They are not using the symbolic way, all right? The difference is that the symbolic way, when it is communicated with the POC, it is encrypted, all right? So people cannot know what POC's registers value are, all right? It is encrypted. But if you're using an absolute way to communicate, that you can actually use some special tool to get the POC's information, like what is the value of this address, what is the value of that address. You can use some special tools to get the POC value. All right, but the symbolic way, it is encrypted, so you cannot get the what is inside the POC. Okay, and also for different tag POC, under some special conditions here, the symbolic way can basically exchange the POC data faster. Okay, in some certain conditions, the symbolic way will be faster than absolute communication. And our cMTX, we support the symbolic way to communicate by using with the POC tag address here. All right. So as far as we know, there are no other third party that can support the symbolic way to communicate here. Right. Only the HMI from the POC manufacturer, their own, like Siemens HMI, they can use symbolic way to with their own S7 1200, and Omron's HMI, they can use symbolic ways to communicate with their NJ POC. As far as we know now, that we are the only third-party HMI that supports symbolic way to communicate. All right, so that is why we call it exclusively here. Okay, so next part is our latest service, which is dashboard. The dashboard is WeinCloud's new solution here. It is one of the service under WeinCloud like EasyAccess 2.0, and the cMTX support both EasyAccess 2.0 and dashboard service here, right? Dashboard basically provides data visualization on cloud, and it can save your time and cost to avoid you need to take the time and cost to build your own cloud solution, and you don't need to buy extra hardware device to use the dashboard here. We had a webinar a couple of months ago about dashboard, and you can also find that webinar's video on our YouTube channel, okay, for more details. Right. Okay, so some of you may already use our IoT features here, IoT functions here already, right? And cMTX also support the general IoT protocol like the OPC UA client, OPC UA server, and the MQTT. Right? In MQTT, we support standard MQTT, and we also support some big cloud platform like Microsoft Azure, Amazon's AWS IoT, and Google IoT Core here. And some of these big cloud platform that you can use a standard MQTT to communicate, some of them you cannot. And in EasyBuilder Pro, we provide direct support on this cloud, you can send or receive the data from this cloud, and the setting is going to be way more easier, like if you are trying to use a normal MQTT way to communicate with this platform. All right. Okay. So here, but there are some, okay, but to support this third-party cloud service, this major cloud service here, that they are only supported on our standard and advanced model here, and the OPC US server is only available on our advanced model. All right. Okay. So next is about our database here. Before our previous model cMT series, that it is already support Microsoft SQL and MySQL here. Now we also support the SQL database on Azure, okay, on Azure. And the cMTX series basically can sync the data with the SQL database directly, and you can also set a SQL query command on HMI, right? And so it is very useful for IT backgrounds technician because that they basically all know what SQL is, and they are also familiar about the SQL query. All right, so this is about the database here. All right, so the last part of the software features, we're going to talk about some other features that our cMTX can do here. Right, so here's our web browser from cMTX, the advanced models. We support there are building browsers on our cMTX HMI here. Right, our POC web browser is a Chromium base, right, which supports HTML5. So you can use this POC web browser on the HMI and view POC web pages or other device with web server. All right, so you can use this web browser to view web pages here. So this is our new POC web browser. All right, and about the building codices here, that our cMTX can activate codices feature and connect with remote I/O here, right? Our last generation cMT series, it also supports building codices, but now our cMTX has 4 CPU cores, and before that, the previous cMT series, it only has 2 CPU cores. So on cMTX, that it can run both HMI and codices program faster and smoother. All right, so this is about the building codices here. All right, so now on the cMTX series, you can use FTP to exchange files here. Right, you just need to install to set up a FTP servers on your PC, and you will be able to upload and download files to the HMI, right, by using the FTP. Before we use Easy Printer, right, to send a screenshot or send the history files to the PC. Now you can just use FTP to exchange, to upload, download the file, and you can also upload other files like the PDF files, some files like that. Okay, so that is basically about our software features here. And the last part, we're going to talk about our 3 different models, our advanced, our standard, and our basic models here. Right, so which model suits you better, right? About the advanced models here, it supports all the software features such as POC web browser, SQL database, and OPC US server. And it also supports something like Siemens MPI and CAN bus protocols, right? As for standard models, it provides enhanced features such as IP camera or USB camera, or cMT viewer and web view and LDAP and JS object here. For the basic models, it is basically for the essential needs. So it has almost all the POC driver we support except for the Siemens MPI communication and CAN bus. Other than that, all the PLC drivers are still supported in basic models, right? And all other basic software features are all supported, like VNC viewer and server, cMT diagnoser, and also our Wayne Clouds dashboard and ZSS 2.0 are all supported on our basic models here. All right, so you can see that the difference is that the software features, the difference is on the software features, right? So, and these features are, let's take a look at the top of this slide here. These features are only supported on advanced models, right? Like a barcode scanner on Android. You can connect your Android phone to our advanced cMT HMI and use the barcode scanner on your Android phone, all right? And the HMI will get the result and show it on HMI here. And the PLC web browser is also only on the advanced models here. Siemens MPI, the CAN bus, event bar chart, energy demand are also, and the SQL database are also only supported on our advanced models here. Right. And the following features on the bottom of this slide, and these features are only supported on both standard and advanced models here, like IP camera and USB camera here, like a media player, like a web streaming. Web streaming means that you can use your PC's browser to view the IP camera's screen connect to the HMI. All right, and MQTT cloud platform here. The MQTT cloud platform here means that like Azure, AWS, IoT, and etc. All right, for our basic models, it still supports the normal, the basic standard MQTT. All right, only these cloud platforms are only supported on both standard and advanced models here. All right, and also that window animation, built-in codices, cMT viewer, web view, LDAP, JavaScript object, action trigger, condition object. These are the features that are only supported on standard and advanced models. All right. Other than these features I write on this slide, all other features are supported on our basic models. All right. So you can just choose the models depends on which software features you need, right? Okay, so how can you tell which model, which cMTX is advanced and standard or basic models here? You can tell it by the name here, all right? So if you see this model name with cMTX, means that, okay, this is a cMTX series, okay? So the first digits of number will show which model it is, right? If it is 1, the first number is 1, it means that it is a basic model. If it is 2, means that it is a standard model. If it is 3, then it is a advanced model. Okay. The second and the third number basically is telling you the screen size of this HMI. For example, 07 means that this is a 7 inches HMI. 09 means that this is a 9.7 inches, and 10 means that this is a 10.1 inches HMI, and 15 means that it's a 15 inches, and 16 means that it's a 15.6 inches. All right, those, so the second and the third number, you can tell what is the size of the HMI. And the last number here is talking about the Ethernet port. For 2 and 8, if the fourth number is 2 and 8, which means that this HMI is a dual Ethernet port. It has 2 Ethernet ports on this HMI. If it is 6, which means that this HMI is using a single Ethernet port here. All right. And some cMTX models, you will see an additional edge here. Edge here means that it has a high resolution, right? The LCD screen has a high resolution here. Okay, so these are basically how you can tell by the name to tell like which this is advanced model, how big it is, and how many Ethernet ports it has, all right, by the model name here. All right. So these are our cMT X family here, and you can see that for advanced model, basically we have all sizes here, right? But we will have more sizes HMI for standard and basic in the future, right? It will be coming out in the future, right? So, and you can also see that the 7 inches of advanced models here, there's a cMT 3072X and cMT 3072XH here. All right, so the XH model means that it has a higher resolution of LCD than the cMT 3072X here. All right, so these are the current families in the X families we have here. All right, and the next one is that our cMT FHDX, and this is a advanced model, but it has no screen, but it has a HDMI port here. It has a built-in HDMI interface and adjustable resolution up to 1920 times 1080. Right, so basically the cMT FHDX is for you to connect with other big screen, right? It supports customized resolution for the LCD monitor from 16 to 9 or 4 to 3. All right, so you can use this to connect with any, or you can use this HDMI interface to connect with a projector, right? So this is our cMT FHDX here. And our cMTX also there's also Wi-Fi solution here, which is cMTX plus our M02 module here, right? With this M02 module, you can connect to the Wi-Fi AP. If you have a Wi-Fi AP on site, you can use M02 module to connect with it. All right, but if there are no Wi-Fi on site, for example, that maybe it is a closed circumstances that you don't want any internet here, our M02 module can also switch to a Wi-Fi hotspot mode. All right, so the HMI, the cMTX HMI itself will become an AP, which sends local Wi-Fi. All right, so you can use your PC to connect to the HMI with this local Wi-Fi, and maybe use it to change HMI or monitor HMI screen, or you can use pass-through to check PLC's program. Okay, and because there is no internet, so you don't need to worry about if the data will be not unsecure. All right, so this is the special part about our M02 module. It can become a hotspot itself. All right, and currently that only 3 model now support can use with a M02 module, which are cMT 1106X, cMT 2108X2, and cMT 3102X. All right, these 3 10 inches model now all support the M02 module. You can use it as for your Wi-Fi application here. All right. So basically that this is today our introduction about our cMTX series here. If you have questions, you can just type in your questions and we will answer your question now. Right, so there are many questions here, so let us read from the beginning here. Okay, let's see which questions are not being responded yet. All right. All right. All right. So sorry. Actually, there are many questions here, so let me take a look here. All right. So All right, so here, I think Eric here, he asked 8 and 2 means dual Ethernet ports. You mean the first number of the model name means 2 Ethernet points. Why 2 numbers? All right, just basically that we have different consideration about our model. So we just make like 8 and 2. All right, but just remember that 8 and 2 means that they have dual Ethernet ports here. Okay. What does mean that the cMT X2 on standard mode? The X2, because that model we had a previous version, and now we have a new version. And basically that just because that we want for us to set the difference, right? Because there are only some chips, because that now that the chips are shortage under very shortage circumstances, so we have to change some different chips inside. Basically that the functions and what it can capable do are all the same, but we want to make a difference, so we call it X2. Basically it is the same as the previous X models, right? Okay, so another question is that is this model implemented the KNX interface? We support the KNX protocol, right? We have a KNX driver, but I'm not quite sure the KNX interface means. I mean, our HMI can communicate with the KNX device if that is what your question is, right? Yes, we can communicate with it. Another question from Bart is that can we change the logo from the app to our company logo? Currently, no. Sorry, we need to we can only use our own logo here, right? Okay, another question is that is there any SIM card slot for internet? Okay, if you for as this moment that M02 module can only support the Wi-Fi only, all right, so it doesn't have a SIM card slot here. But maybe in the future because that we have module, maybe in the future we can consider about, but for now we don't have it, right? But if you are using a Wi-Fi module with cMTX and you want to use the internet, you can just you can use Ethernet cable to connect to the HMI, and in this way, like your Wi-Fi can also go to internet. All right, this is about our Wi-Fi module here. Some of you have some other questions about our old series about IE series here, but that is more about the serial part problem. So you may need to check with our suppliers here. All right. All right. So why the easy access is not included anymore? It's basically because that we heard. I mean, we have many response from our users, and some of them they say that they don't want to include it. So we decided to make it an option. So the users can choose by themselves if they want to have it or not, right? So that is why we separate the easy access license this time. Another question is that how we can personalize the send mail function. We do have a email function, just we do have a email function here, and just like the old settings here. So I'm not quite sure what is the personalized mail function you mean here. Okay. When will Weintek fully support Profibus and Profinet here? Basically, that we support the CMOS protocol depends on the devices, right? So we support the general, because that the profit bus and profit net are very wide. I mean, it's a very big protocol here. So our strategy is that we support the device, certain device like their PLCs, like their CNC machines or something like that. All right, so this is our strategy. I mean, we develop our drivers depends on their machines, but not the entire protocol. We do it one by one here. Right. Okay, so the cMT viewer, another question is asked that if we consider to support the cMT viewer in the basic version, basic model here. Yeah, that is a good question, and we will consider about it, right? But at this moment, the cMT viewer is not supported, but we will definitely going to consider about it, right? Another question is that, is it possible to dynamically reach tags in an array indexed tag set using local index on the HMI? All right, basically you want to use local the index of the HMI to change your tag array, right? And as far as I know that these features, we have a similar features that is already under testing, right? And we will probably release in this 1 or 2 months here. So when you see, or maybe next version, I'm not sure when we are going to release it, but I know that our R&D has already making some similar features like that. Okay, maybe when our new EV Pro version is released, you can test and see if that is the function that you're asking for. Easy. All right, another question is that, is it possible to use EasyBuilder Pro newer version without upgrading the project? Multi-users with different Pro version. I mean, you don't want to upgrade your EasyBuilder Pro, or you don't want to upgrade your project to different version? I'm not sure, because if you can always choose not to update your EasyBuilder Pro. And when you are using a new EasyBuilder Pro to compile your project, there will always be a backup project, right? So you can use that backup project to let everyone stay in that project, and you don't use the new project here. For a WinCloud, another question is that for WinCloud, how much historic data we can view? I mean, you mean the dashboard, right? For WinCloud, each, yeah, right. Okay, you already answered the each historical data will be saved, stored for 1 year. Okay. Is the library on cMT different than on cMT? At this moment, there are no difference, but we will, as I said, that we will expand our library in the future. So in the future, there will be difference. All right. Now, the library are almost the same. Okay, so another question is that, does any of the cMT models have ATEX certification? Do you plan to certify them for ATEX applications? I mean, we will always have this. I'm not sure if all models will have these certifications, but I think that advanced models might have this. I mean, we usually does, right? But at this moment, I need to check it later. But I think that it should be right. Right. About the price, you need to ask with our supplier here, right? So, okay, so. Use reference. Okay, so another question is that is there any building reporting functions? You mean generate a report? At this moment, we still haven't had the report functions, right? Our cMTX our cMTX models, but we maybe in the future, but now there isn't. The training part basically that okay, there's another question. If you're asking that if we were going to have some online training in the future, I mean, it depends on the topic. Right now, basically our webinar now is give you a general introduction to let you understand like what software features we have, what hardware, what kind of hardware, and what is the new. Like we give you a general introduction here, but if you want some training, I don't know, maybe we can see what we can arrange in the future. But as you know, that there are many features on EasyBuilder Pro, so we may have to choose which topics we're going to do. Right. Okay, so another question is that we should have the ability to edit a picture, right? So you want to actually to event when it is open or closed. Right. Okay, so this question here is very important here because that he talks about that when because that we have some objects are using multi states, right? So there will be many different pictures in this object, right? So this question is asking that we should be able to provide a color changing features on this kind of multi-stage objects. Okay, so what I can tell is that we have some plan, okay, but not I can tell specific details now, but I can say that in the future there will be some more convenient way to do it. All right, that's all I can say at this point, but right in the future, and maybe you'll see. Okay, so another question is asking if you can change the images, the color of images in the library. All right, so just take a look here, drag here, and okay, so this is the picture here. So let me go to the picture library here. So I can show you that here. Okay, if you press default here, you can change the color of the object here, right? All right. So here you can change the color of the picture. Can you see it? Right? You can change the color here. Okay. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, so another question is that can the M02 can be a hotspot point for a PC? Yes, it can. I mean, you want to, yeah, you can use PC to connect to M02's hotspot, if that is what you mean. Or you mean you want to connect M02 with your PC? I mean, that is no, right? You can only use M02 to connect with our HMI. Okay, another question is asking that will the M02 module will be available on all our advanced series? At this moment, that our plan is only on the 10 inches HMI. Okay, so at this moment, only the 10 inches HMI will support this M02 module here. Okay, so another question is that it will be useful to make two HMI connect via easy access. Okay, we will consider about it. Right, thank you for your suggestion. Okay, another question is that asking that how we will charge on our WinCloud dashboard. At this moment, until August this year, that if you have a cMT series and it is easy access 2.0 activated, you can try the dashboard feature for free. Okay, and after August, we will announce how we are going to charge our dashboard. All right, at this moment, it is not yet being announced. All right. Right, Dimitris, if you have this, do you think you have need about this ECS 2.0? You can make this requirement to Terry, right? He will build the requirement. So I think that at this moment, I can tell you whether our R&D team will do it or not, right? So, right. All right, so some of our pictures, we only have one color of the machine valve status. All right, then this part I can suggest to our art team and see if they can also provide these different colors pictures in the future. I mean, yes, it can be. We will consider about it, and we'll ask our art team to support it on this feature. Okay, so another question is asking that the module M02 is for Wi-Fi connections. Do we plan to have some more modules? I mean, yes, it is considered, right? But we are also observing about the market requirements to see, well, maybe if people really need those modules or not. All right, so another question is asking that what is the difference between resistive and capacitive screen here? Which one is better? Okay, right. So depends on your scenario, right? Because capacitive screen, like I said, that the screen, the picture on this HMI will just look better, and it has higher accuracy, and it is smoother and response is faster. But on the resistive screen, it is more suitable for some condition or some circumstances. Some if you're in a factory that will have a lot of electromagnetic interference. You have many interference in that HMI site. You might need to use resistive instead of capacitive screen, because that capacitive screen can be easily interfered, right? But other than that, I think that the capacitive screen should be looks better and it is smoother to operate. I'm sorry. Another question is that how to set multi-line ASCII display with auto wrap text. You mean will change to different line automatically? Yeah, I don't quite get about this question here. But this PowerPoint, we will probably not going to share with you, but we will upload this video on our YouTube channel maybe tomorrow, right? We will if this video will be recording will be shown on our YouTube channel here, so you can view it here, right? So another question is it possible to transfer to SQL database on PC the text of one alarm of data log? The text of one transfer. I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure what you asking about this SQL database question here. Do you want to change the text of the alarm of data log, or you just want to sync this text? Sorry, I'm not quite get about what your question is here. All right. Okay. So your question is that when the alarm happened, you want to see it on PC database. Yes. It is possible. Right. Just you need to make some maybe not a direct setting, right? But you can do it, right? SQL database, right? I mean, our alarm can sync with the database directly, so you can see what happened in your database directly. Right. Okay, so another question is about library theme. All right, you want to change the library theme here. Let's see where the theme is. Theme. Theme. Sorry, I don't know which theme you mean here. Library theme. I mean, for some, right, not every pictures that we can change the color, right? Because we maybe we didn't provide that feature here. But because I didn't find the thing you're asking here. It's not a switch. Use word lamp. Right, use word lamp. Okay, here I open the word lamp here. Okay, so here I'm at the picture library here, right? Fan? You mean sorry, because that I none button, right? So here okay, I open arrow. Arrow here, I can also change color. Sorry, I just can't find the color. The change color you mean? Maybe you can just send an email to our technical support email, so maybe they can just tell you, because that I think the time is almost up, so we might to close this webinar here early. But if you have questions, you can also still send it to our email, right? Or we can, right? So we will answer you about how to change it. All right. Okay. Okay. So I think I think we're going to end our webinar today. So as I said, that if you have further technical questions or sales questions, you are welcome to send the emails to our sales mail or to our service mail, right? Or there are also technical service column the forum on our website here, right? So okay, so today that is all about our webinar today, and thank you for coming.